Hey guys, so there is a Reddit thread that has been blowing up in the past, 7 hours, right? And this is about a video that was made by Zeals about tier 4. And I watched the video a bit as well, and the summary does a pretty good job of summarizing what's going on in the situation. So basically, Zeals is saying, hey, in tier 4 right now, there is a huge difference between a whale versus a non-whale, like 70%, right? So for example, a very invested streamer raid can clear the raid easily day one, but that's not the case for most regular people. And also raid design is hard at item level and getting a lot easier when whales are enticed to swipe, right? So when whales swipe, the raid becomes a lot easier, right? And I look at this because, we look on the comments, surprise Pikachu face moment, Lost Ark is pay to win, right? And it is true, right? This video is basically saying Lost Ark is very pay to win. But the main point is that, yes, Lost Ark is pay to win, but right now in tier 4, Lost Ark is more pay to win than ever. And that's the main argument. Right? And I want to talk about this because while I don't disagree that Lost Ark is pay to win, I also don't think that this is anything new. This is like Lost Ark is not more pay to win than it's been in the past. And I want to explain this by using a paint diagram. Now, the main thing that I think we're experiencing right now, or at least KR is experiencing, is because we have a new tier. And when we have a new tier, the ceiling just gets pushed really, really high, right? And this is something that we've experienced in tier 3 as well. So when we went from tier 2 to tier 3, right, we got a brand new ceiling. This is the ceiling right here. And while there is a ceiling for T3, which is what we're hitting right now, there is a theoretical ceiling that, we are at, when we first arrived at tier 3, right? We're not able to hit this ceiling that we're at right now before tier 4, but there was a theoretical ceiling because when we first arrived in tier 3, it wasn't like we had our relic sets, right? We didn't have a lot of access to things that we had before. No relic sets, no relic equipment for accessories. We only had legendary stuff. And because of that, we couldn't get things like entropy set. We couldn't get things like 5x3. So that's what this theoretical ceiling is, right? And then when we do get those entropy sets and relic sets, that theoretical ceiling does increase and go up. And certain things will make the theoretical ceiling go up more than others. For example, when we first got into tier 3, we didn't have Argos, right? We had epic equipment. So when we were in that period, the theoretical ceiling was like, let's say right here, right? And then when Argos came out, the theoretical ceiling came up here. We got more item level, we got more gear, etc. But then when relic sets and relic equipment came out, that ceiling came up to here, right? So different content will make the theoretical ceiling a bit higher and lower compared to other content. Certain content will add more to the theoretical ceiling, certain content will add less. So that's the situation, right? When we get into a new tier. And when we get into a new tier, this is the same as tier 4 as well compared to tier 3. We also have things like gems. We had things like engravings, right? When we reset tiers, those also reset. So what we're seeing right now is basically the effects of a reset tier, which is like surprise Pikachu face, right? So when we first get into tier 3, people that whaled, maybe the theoretical ceiling was like right here, right? When the theoretical ceiling is right here, you get things like gems, right? You get level 10 gems that pushes you up like way high, right? And then you get things like, I don't know, the item level. When you upgrade your character, you get item level, and then that pushes you up higher, right? Now, we think about when vaulting comes out, right? Then the whales who are at, let's say, 14, 15, 14, 45 item level, they get their relic sets first before anybody else. So the theoretical ceiling goes from here up to here, right? And they get their relic set. So that's kind of the situation that they're experiencing right now. And the reason why we've been feeling okay for the past little bit, and it's a kind of a little bit of a culture shock, is because our theoretical ceiling was gone, right? We just had the T3 ceiling, and let's say the previous raid, the theoretical ceiling was right here before, I don't know, Behemoth, or before Thaymine, before Echidna, right? That's where the theoretical ceiling was. Everybody already was around here. They had their level 10 gems, right? Right here. They had their 5x3+1. They've had, maybe some people had 5x3+2, and they were a little bit higher. They had their, you know, relic sets, ancient sets, whatever it might be. They had everything set up already. And that's why when Behemoth came out, the ceiling was so much easier to hit because we were just closer to the ceiling. Because we had a lot of the things that we built up over time, right? We had our gems, we had our engravings, everything was already all set for us. Every single time a new piece of content came out, the only thing that was left for us to upgrade was that stuff that came from that content. Most people already had everything set up. But now when tier 4 arrives, everything gets wiped, right? Everything gets reset. While we do still have some of our gems and stuff intact, not everybody has level 10 gems, and that's another place for people to progress vertically, right? So the normal Andy is going to be here, whereas the pay to win Andy might be somewhere right here or somewhere right here, right? But the thing is, as we get closer and closer to the ceiling of tier 4, this pay to win aspect, this feeling of like the pay to win Andy being further and like way too much higher than the rest of the community goes away gradually, which is again what we experienced, right? So essentially what the Koreans are experiencing right now in tier 4 is almost no different than in tier 3. When we first got into tier 3, the free-to-play Andy was right here, and the pay-to-win Andy was right here. And as you can see, I also very purposely made the ceiling and floor for tier 3 and tier 4 pretty much the same, because I think that at the end of the day, the ceiling in terms of like the gap between a fresh tier 3 player and a fully geared up tier 4 player is, you know, likely going to be very similar in terms of cost. So when a free to play player first comes in, they're of course going to get beat by the pay to win whale, and same with tier 4. But as we progress closer, as people complete their level 10 gems, right? As people complete those, as people complete their relic books, as people complete their arc passives, as people complete their tier 4 accessories, right? As people complete their tier 4 bracelets, you're going to see people getting closer and closer and closer to those whales, because there just isn't going to be as much stuff to vertically progress on anymore. And the only thing left to vertical progress is, again, what's coming out in the new content. Now, the other argument that Zeals has is that it's kind of like what it was at Clown, right? Clown came out and, you know, it made it feel like people were really struggling on item level at 1475, but everybody who was whaling, and as people got closer to 1540 high level gems, right? 1540 is like, I mean, like, honestly, who was 15? No, I don't think you could even get 1540 plus when Clown first came out, because it was like gated by Brel gear. But that is besides the point, right? So as you get higher item level, as you get more gear in a raid like Clown, it got easier. And that's the case for every raid, right? But what he's saying is that Clown was especially hard compared to the other raids, and it made it so that players who whaled more got like a much easier time clearing the raid, kind of like what he's experiencing with Brelshaza raid right now. And while I can't fully comment on how hard Brel is because I haven't done it, I'm not in tier 4 yet, I haven't even done Egg Gear yet, what I can say is that, you know, this happens, right? Certain raids are easier than others, and certain raids are harder than others. And what ends up happening is, if the theoretical ceiling is here, right, and the raid comes out here when everybody's power level is here, well, that gap between the paying player and the non-paying player is quite big. And that's why you get a situation where hard raid comes out, people on item level can't really do it that easily, and the whales are able to do it much easier. But if you think about it this way, right? The gap between difficulty between like Thaymine and Ivory Tower was huge, but people weren't really complaining about it back then. Why? Again, it's because of where the ceilings were compared to where the players were. The players were, again, just way closer to the ceiling compared to right now, where the players are just not that close to the ceiling because of the whole fact that we got a reset tier, right? Tier 4 versus tier 3. And let's make this clear, right? I am not white knighting Smilegate. I'm not white knighting anybody. All I'm just saying is that I think that a thread like this will cause a lot of damage to the community, who is already always very skeptical about the game. And a thread like this is just going to make people pissed off. I know a lot of people are still getting pissed off after watching this video, and they're like, oh, you're just, saying some bullshit. Like, this has always been the case. I hate the game, right? But for those of us who are, playing the game, like the game currently, and, maybe slightly swayed by something like this, I just want to make this video to, let you know, hey, you might have forgotten this because it's been so long since we had a tier reset. But this is how a tier reset feels in Korean MMOs. It's not justifying how it feels, right? But what I'm just saying is this is nothing new. This is not like, oh my god, Lost Ark has reached new lows. It's just that Lost Ark has always had these lows, but we just haven't experienced it in a while because we didn't have a reset. But the thing is, a reset is not a bad thing because, as we've all seen, right? A lot of people have decided, hey, I probably don't need to play for a while. I can take a break. Then when I come back, I'll have a fresh 1640 character and I'll be able to progress then, right? It's a good thing. It's a good place for people to come in and join the game who haven't been able to play the game before for one reason or another, because, it's just too high investment. It's been too time intensive. Like, this is a good thing. But the thing is, it does come with trade-offs, and mainly in the fact that the pay-to-win players are going to be much, much stronger than the free-to-play players. But to be honest, right, in my opinion, who cares? Let the pay-to-win players clear the raid on day one, right? I don't care. I'm not going, especially here in the West, we're not going for world first. Korea already has gotten world first, right? So it's not like there's a big difference. Like, there's no reason for us to be pissed off that the whales are getting way higher compared to us. In fact, it should be the opposite, because the whales are what is driving our game. Like it says right here, right? The 0.5% of whales makes up 40% of the revenue in Kharon Lost Ark. Good. I don't want to pay that amount of money to keep the game running for them. Let the whales push the game up, keep it afloat, and we'll just enjoy the game behind everybody. I don't know. That's just how I feel about this whole situation. And let me know down in the comment section below what you guys feel and what you guys think. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please remember, hit the like button, hit the sub button, ring the bell for notifications. And also, I stream every single day on twitch.tv/MeSoXure. Right now, I'm streaming a lot of Throne and Liberty, but I'll probably get back to Lost Ark probably after reset, to be honest. But yeah, come join the stream. I'd love to see you guys there. But if I can't see you there on stream for one reason or another, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see y'all on the next one. All right, guys. Peace.